Welcome back to another video. So, I did something really dumb. I trained yesterday, and I filmed everything as normal. I filmed my recaps of each lift, how everything went, and I filmed all my lifts on my camera, and I realised, I think after I tried to watch my set of Sumo back, that I'd nudged the button at the top of my camera and filmed everything in slow-mo. So I'm having to refilm the talking clips. I've sped up the videos of my actual training, so I haven't had to use because I film everything on my phone as well. So I haven't had to import those, so that's fine. We've still got the training clips that I can salvage. But yeah, all of my talking clips are in slow-mo and have no sound, so we're not going to be using those. So I'm just going to kind of go over pretty much everything I said from memory. But I mean, there's not a lot to report on. It's week 3 of the block. I'm feeling miles better. If you've watched my last video, you know that I have been really ill. So I am back on track. I say really ill. It was a cold, but it fully knocked me out. But yeah, I'm back. SBD yesterday went pretty well. So I'm just going to play squats through and then I'll talk through after how they kind of went.
If you rockin' with it, put your hands.
So, squats went very well. Now, week 3 of the block, this pretty much happens every single time. Week 3 is the week where things don't quite feel right, but they tend to move fine. So, 150 top set of 5 on squats didn't feel natural, like my actual movement pattern didn't quite feel right, but they moved really comfortably. Like, they felt ridiculously easy. I definitely had the strength to squat 150 for a set of 10. Like, I could have kept going with that set, which is incredible. I mean, I'm not going to squat 150 for a set of 10 because my lungs would not like enjoy it, and yeah, I'd probably die after. But yeah, I'm really happy with how squats moved. And then I went up to 165 for my fatigue single, which felt heavy as hell on my back, and it literally moved like the first rep of my top set of 5. Like, I could rep 165 for 5, I reckon. Like, I have so much strength on squats that is untapped, and I genuinely think my planned numbers for week 5 of this block are probably going to be an undershoot, but I'm really happy if they are, because it just means that I'm even stronger than I kind of planned for when I write out this block. Yeah, so 165 single moved incredibly well. And I think one thing as well that I made a note of that I was kind of happy about was the fact that having fatigue singles in my training has just reminded me and given me that extra confidence boost that even if a weight feels heavy, because usually after a top set, that fatigue single does feel heavier on my back than normal. Just because it feels heavy doesn't mean I can't move it. And yesterday was complete proof of that. Like, the 165 moved incredibly well. It was probably the fastest it's ever moved. Plenty left in the tank, so very happy with squats. And then back offs were fine. They actually moved really well. I think the gum shield, wearing that for squats, is definitely helping me with my bracing and just helped everything feel more solid. So I'm going to keep with that and hopefully just kind of keep noticing improvements with that. But that's all there really is to say with squats. I got through them pretty quickly again, didn't need much rest, which is always a good thing. So yeah, really happy with that. So let's take a look at how bench went.
There's nothing in this world more primal than my love for you. If you meet somebody else that's a rival, that much is true. Yeah, I know you said, baby, this is final, and I blame myself. All that's left of me now is an animal, and I cry for help. I wish my call's gonna reach you. Give it my all, 'cause I need you. Oh, let it go, let it go, let it go, till I get you alone. I can't help but howl like a wolf, howl like a wolf. I wish my call's gonna reach you. Give it my...
So, bench went mostly really well. I feel it's been a recurring theme for my last few bench sessions. Top single, I messed up. 112.5 should not have been that slow. Granted, it is only 2.5 below my best ever bench, and this is week 3 after a week of being unwell. So I kind of should have expected it to move maybe slower than I originally planned for, but it was definitely slower than it should have been. I don't even really know what happened, because it didn't feel heavy or anything, and it didn't feel difficult to do. It just stopped moving and then just suddenly picked up. So I think I almost like forgot to press. I think maybe I went in because my warm-ups and the unrack and everything of that set felt incredible and really comfortable. Like my positioning felt amazing on all my warm-up sets, and when I unracked the 112.5 it felt even better. I don't know if I kind of almost got a bit lazy with it and expected it to move really well just because I'd nailed my setup, even though obviously the setup is only part of the work. I need to actually push to move the weight still. So I think it might have been more me getting complacent, expecting it to just go really easily, and then obviously it didn't. But I'm not worried about it. Like if I can hit 112.5, like I should be happy. That's still 5 kilos over my comp max from just a couple of months ago. So I'm happy with that. Back offs were really good. So bringing my grip in, so I now have my ring finger on the ring. So it's a slightly closer grip. Feels so strong. 4x5 at 100 felt way easier than I expected. I think the gum shield for bench has been a massive game changer, because when I grind reps out on my accessories and on any pressing movement in particular, I really do grind my teeth together, which is obviously a really bad habit. So when I've been training, I've been trying to not do that, obviously. But now that I've got the gum shield and I can get away with doing it, it's almost like it just gives me that little bit of extra power. I don't even know how to explain it, but it feels really good on bench. So yeah, very happy with how bench went. So we'll take a look at sumo as well. So, sumo felt amazing. Last week, when I did my 135 for my 4x5, it felt awful, to the point where I was considering just taking it out of the program and just really focusing on conventional again, which obviously I wasn't going to just change the block halfway through, but it was a genuine consideration for the end of this block. But no, I don't know. I mean, I know what I did differently yesterday. I took my stance slightly wider actually yesterday, and that's why the 140 moved easier, I think. My overall positioning was better, and I've now put the belt on because I think it's heavy enough to justify the belt, and my positioning felt good enough to use the belt. And also, again, I feel like I'm just raving about this gum shield, but I obviously have been gnawing my teeth on sumo as well, because I noticed that I was really clenching the gum shield into place. But again, it really just helps me feel more solid, and my positioning feels better by having that extra tightness through my body. But yeah, Sumo I was really, really happy with. I don't feel like I filmed it from the best angle to really be able to see what I mean about my positioning being good. Like, it's still not a pretty Sumo, but I don't think I'll ever have a pretty Sumo. But for me, it felt really comfortable. My back felt super strong, and yeah, just overall my positioning felt really good. So I am very happy with how Sumo went. The 140 for 4x5 felt incredibly easy. Way easier than the 135 did the week before. So that's really good. Really promising. So yeah, very happy with Sumo as well. I feel like I've forgotten half of the stuff I was going to say in my recaps of these lifts, because obviously I've just lost all my footage. So apology, this video is probably the worst one we've had for a while, but it's fine. Yeah, so I'm going to wrap up the video here though. There's not really anything else to add. I mean, all 3 lifts went really well. I don't feel like being ill during the week and having to push my days back a little bit has hindered me in any way. I've spoke in the last video about potentially having to restart the block, and I don't think that's even a consideration. Like, I recovered just in time, basically, I think, and I'm really glad I took a few days off because I obviously needed it. And yeah, I just feel like I haven't really lost anything. I haven't lost any momentum. Everything is still trending as it should be. The only thing that didn't go to plan was my bench top single, but I'm not too worried about that. I think next block, I'm probably going to start focusing on heavy doubles on bench and just maybe pull back on the singles a little bit, or do a fatigued single style, sort of like I'm doing with squats on bench. But I'm going to have a think about it, because I think something needs to change with bench. My rep work is so strong. My singles should be stronger than they are. Like, obviously having heavier rep work, my overall fatigue is higher, so my singles aren't going to move as well as they potentially could do. But yeah, I think I'm going to rethink the layout of my bench next block and go from there. But I mean, the main goal is still just building mass, and yeah, I'm doing that. I'm sitting heavier. I'm mid 88 kilos at the moment, which after a week of being ill and hardly moving at all, doing like 500 steps a day, probably around the flat, I'm very happy with that. I mentioned it in a previous video, the plan in the new year. So I think my next comp is probably going to be June, July time. I'm just waiting for the calendar to be released to know exactly what I'm doing. But my plan is to, for all of January, just stick to my macros 100%, keep my cardio up. I have slacked on that a little bit, but I'm going to make sure I keep on top of that and just start slowly increasing my steps again. And then end of January, I'll see where my weight's sat at. I wouldn't be surprised if it is low 87s, just from a month of 100% consistency and being more strict with things. And then probably start doing a little bit of a cut as of the start of February, but I'll wait and see where I'm at the end of January to decide that. So yeah, overall, things are really good. The off season is definitely going to plan. I'm very excited. I'm getting very antsy. Like, I want to compete. Like, especially the last couple of weeks, I've seen so many people compete, and all of these comps have been going on that look so much fun to be part of. And I'm just desperate to get back on the platform. But I also know that even though my strength at the moment is miles higher than it was last time I competed, even though that was just a couple of months ago, I am still nowhere near where I want to be. And I know that if I carry on as I have been, I can get to where I want to be. So I need to just stay patient and not rush back into comps and just take my time. It's obviously a good thing that I'm sitting too heavy to actually compete, because I think I would have probably just ended the first meet I could if not, but I wouldn't have had time to diet down if I did that now. So it's almost like a blessing in disguise that I'm doing this little bit of a bulk. But yeah, I think that's it for this video. I've rambled a lot, so sorry. Yeah, so if you have enjoyed, please give it a like, comment and subscribe, and I will see you on Friday morning for the next video.